Welcome to Solo, the single person's guide to a remarkable life. Your host, a behavioral scientist and bachelor, talks to leading experts and successful singles about living solo and living well. Travel more, make things, sleep in when you want to. Here's the playbook for the person who is unapologetically unattached. Now, please welcome Dr. Peter McGraw.
Welcome back. In this episode, I have a fun conversation with Rachel Lefort, a stylist with more than 20 years of fashion experience. You may be wondering why I would have an episode on clothes, especially nowadays, but let me make the case. In a previous episode, number 25, I explored the Virgin's Promise, an alternative story structure to the hero's journey. Because the Virgin's Promise is a good metaphor for the single person resisting human domestication, embracing solo living, and living a remarkable life, I have co-opted the story structure by calling it the Solo's Promise. An important part of the structure is the protagonist begins to quote-unquote dress the part as he or she fulfills their promise. For example, Cinderella, in her transformation, it begins when she puts on this beautiful ball gown. I believe that recognizing your promise begins an act of reinvention, a change to how you think about yourself, your behavior, and perhaps even how you dress. I'm still working on this idea, but I believe it's important. Creating a new look, changes to grooming and clothing, was a topic in last week's episode with Kevin Nolte, a divorced man getting back in the game after a 20-plus year marriage. These changes are not just practical, they're symbolic, and I think they're important. In this episode, Rachel discusses why dressing well matters, for yourself and for others. In particular, we talk about how improving your wardrobe can help you accomplish your goals, and how dressing well can even become, dare I say, fun. We tackle some of the common mistakes people make and the challenges of updating a wardrobe. Above all, please wear clothes that fit, people. If you stick around for the bonus material, we talk about dressing during the time of COVID. Rachel suggests starting your wardrobe edit, getting a fashionable friend or professional to help you find the clothes that you should lean into and the clothes that don't look good on you. And either you donate those clothes or you get them tailored. This process will help you identify some gaps, especially the basics, that you can fill for when the pandemic ends. Obviously, this episode isn't for everyone. Soon after taping it, I read the book Party of One, The Loner's Manifesto by Annalee Rufus. And Annalee makes the case that dressing well just doesn't matter that much to loners. And I get it. In any case, I hope you enjoy the episode. Let's get started. Welcome to Solo, the single person's guide to a remarkable life. I'm Peter McGraw. Today's guest is Rachel Lefort. Rachel is a personal stylist with 20 years of experience in fashion. She studied fashion in New York, London, and Paris, and now resides in Denver, Colorado, where she works for J. Hilburn, a custom clothes company for men and women. For the last 10 years, she's also done personal styling for both men and women, and she's helped me vastly improve the way I dress. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you.
Rachel, it's good to hear your voice.
You too, Pete. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, I'm excited to do this. So I want to start with a callback story to some early episodes of Solo.
Okay.
So there's a movie called Limitless with Bradley Cooper. Have you seen this movie?
I have not seen this movie.
You've not seen this movie. So
I need to see this.
It's a good Bradley Cooper film.
Anything with Bradley Cooper, really.
I get it. What's that man not good at? He's good at everything.
Right. Now we know he can sing.
Yeah. So in this movie, he's a writer who's a bit of a loser. So he's kind of, he's sort of a smart guy, but he's just, he drinks a little too much. He procrastinates a little too much. And the story is about him getting his hands on this genius drug called NZT. Essentially, you take this drug and you get to use your entire brain. You essentially become a genius. Now, in that movie, he takes this genius drug, and the first thing he does is he tidies up his apartment. And any listener of Solo knows how much I like tidying up.
Yep. It changes everything.
It does. It's a little bit of a cheat code for just getting things started, making change in your life.
Yeah.
And here it is, a genius tidies up. The next thing he does, and this comes up in one of the episodes called Dude, Get a Haircut. He goes to a fancy salon and he gets a haircut.
Okay.
And we know Bradley Cooper has great hair.
Yeah.
And so he walks out of there with this amazing hair.
Uh-huh.
The next thing, you're like, what does he do next? The next thing is he starts working out.
Okay.
Again, any listener of Solo knows how much I believe in health, eating right, fitness, and so on. Rachel.
Yes.
Guess what he does next?
I can only imagine. Does he go shopping?
He updates his wardrobe.
All right.
So there's a scene of him getting fitted for a leather jacket.
Nice.
And so he goes from this sort of schlubby guy to this, very good-looking, put-together guy, especially the clothing. And so my argument is, if the geniuses are doing it, if the people who take NZT are doing it, why shouldn't us mere mortals also think about this?
I think Bradley Cooper is giving us very good advice.
He is.
You're right. I think those are all really important things to just step it up.
Indeed. So let's start this off. Why does dressing well matter? So why does a genius recognize its importance?
I just think it changes your whole attitude, and it changes how you do everything. How you put yourself together and walk out the door, it can change your day. It affects your confidence, and then you do a better job at whatever you do. When you got it going on, when you look good and you look good, then you've got that spring in your step, like, damn, I look good today. It matters.
I think that's right. So I think there's a tendency for people to think that you dress well for others. And there's truth to that.
There is truth to that. Yep.
But I agree with you. I think that there's this level of confidence when you feel comfortable in your clothing, when you know you look good.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a lack of confidence when the opposite is the case.
Yeah. So if you're self-conscious about the way you look and you're tugging and pulling and you just don't quite feel right, maybe your clothes don't fit well, maybe you're a wrinkled mess and you didn't have time to press or whatever it may be, if you just don't even know why, but you just don't feel right in what you've got on that day.
Yes, I think that's right.
It affects you.
So, I mean, and I think that is true, that when you feel good about yourself, it just helps you become a better person. It just, you move through the world with more aplomb. That idea of, it's just easier to be a better person when you're feeling better.
Well, yeah. I guess because when you're confident, maybe you're happier also, and then you're doing a better job. And so it's a compound effect, right? I think it all adds up.
Yeah. So my personal story with this is, as a professor, I dress up when I teach.
That's cool.
So especially, and you'd be amazed how many professors don't do it. And I see it as putting on a costume of sorts, that I transform myself from this regular everyday person into someone who is about to put on a performance. I see it a little bit like theater. Yeah. In the same way that you dress up an actor, I dress up as a professor. And I think it does, is when I walk into the room, I feel more confident.
You feel ready because you put on the correct clothes for the job. Like, did it do something in your brain to make you feel ready?
Absolutely.
You're presenting.
Yes. And that's the other thing, is I think it does matter for other people.
Yeah.
People, I talk to people, especially men. I think women are a little better about understanding this than men. But a lot of men say, it shouldn't matter how I dress. I shouldn't be judged by the fabric on my body. I should be judged by my expertise and my abilities, my ability to understand the material and to communicate it clearly as a professor. It shouldn't matter what I wear.
Right.
Your response?
Yeah. So a lot of women, I've heard that from women too.
Okay.
Women have told me, sometimes I do speaking engagements about dressing professionally, how to add style with your wardrobe. And I've had women also tell me that it shouldn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so I think men and women, have this argument. And I think they're right. It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. I mean, you're right. It's your inner beauty that counts. However.
Yes. If you say it shouldn't matter,
right?
It matters.
It does matter. Unfortunately, the fact is it matters. And there are so many studies about it that we're judged so quickly, subconsciously, what do they say, 7 seconds or 3 seconds, that somebody forms a judgment about you and they don't even realize they're doing it. And so, you can be in denial and say, well, I am who I am and it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Sure. But what I say is that you've spent so much time and money on your education, and, maybe you've got a master's or a PhD and you keep going and you've put all this effort into honing your skills and becoming the amazing person you are. But then you sell yourself short if you don't look the part. And maybe you don't have to look like you're wearing, you don't have to look like the lawyer if you're the lawyer, right? Or look like a professor stereotype.
Yes.
However, if you just present yourself, then you're more apt to have a conversation, and then you can share what an incredible person you are. It's more opportunities.
I think what it does is it opens people up.
Yeah.
It gives you the benefit of the doubt. They pay more attention. What I say with me, so when I dress up, just for the listener to get an idea of what it is I will wear a suit or slacks and a sport jacket and a button down, no tie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with some sort of dress shoes or kind of like upscale sneakers.
Yeah.
Depending on how I want to make it look.
Yep.
And what I think that says to first of all, these poor students have to look at my ugly mug for hours on end. I might as well give them the best visual that I can give.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yes. The other one is that it says to them, I take this seriously.
It does.
I care about this. This is important. Yep. It's important enough for me to put together this outfit, for it to be well pressed, for it to match, for it to fit well.
Yeah.
And so it conveys, not only does it convey the importance, but then it also sort of conveys a bit of my own confidence.
It does. In this. And then that probably gives them, when they have confidence in you, when they know you have confidence, they have confidence in you. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. And I like that you sort of dress it up and dress it down. So you look polished, but you also look approachable, right? Yes. Because you're not wearing the tie, so it's just a little bit more relaxed. But yet the sport coat or jacket, it steps up your level of authority in a way. Mm-hmm. And then the shoes, when you're intentional about it, you can totally dress down the shoes. As long as that looks cool and polished, right? There's a way.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm not putting running sneakers on. So right. we'll get into that a little bit about having a look, because I think that's a useful thing. I'm not suggesting anyone should dress like me. Right?
That's not what this is about.
That's not what this is about. I don't want to create mini-me's.
No. But
can I add one? I want to get your reaction to this idea that I've been fussing around with is, so there's this sort of level of, okay, I'm going to try to enhance my wardrobe because it's going to help me move through the world with more confidence and more comfort. Secondly, despite my protests that it shouldn't matter, it's going to help me achieve the goals that I want.
Yeah.
Whether that be professional goals or personal goals, so being treated in a positive, respectful, professional way, having my insides sort of match my outside,
Yeah,
so to speak.
yeah, yeah.
Or to be appealing to someone if you're
Yeah.
dating, or even just, that you're telling others at a dinner party or something, I respect you in this context. And
Yep.
because
When you walk in, dress nicely. Yep.
this is important, and I recognize this. I know you put a lot of time into hosting this event. I'm going to put some time into appearing in a way that's consistent with that. But the last idea, and this is one I don't think people understand, especially if you're not you, Rachel, who has lots of experience with fashion, is that fashion can be fun.
Yeah, totally. You're preaching to the choir.
Yes. So it's like, I think of it sometimes, when I really turned for me was when I said fashion is like art for your body.
Yeah. Except it's not tattoos, but some people think it is.
Yes, it's exchangeable art for your body.
Right. It's not permanent forever. You're not painted on.
And maybe you could speak to that idea for a little bit, because I think that the average person doesn't think of, they think of clothing first as utilitarian, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear this clothes to keep me warm in the winter and cool in the summer and shaded from the sun,
Yeah. And not naked.
Yes, exactly. As like that sort of first level, and most people never move beyond that very much.
Right. That's true. They just think I got to wear something.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what.
And that second level is this idea of like, okay, I'm going to do this better because it's going to benefit me and it's going to benefit other people who I care about. But this third level is the sort of just straight up fun. That's where we're really talking fashion.
Okay. Well said. Yeah. So this is the next level. And I think it's fun to point this out, to share the perspective that you can make it fun. And why not make it fun? Because you got to do it. I mean, we already said you have to care. So you might as well make it fun. So, whether or not you like shopping, and a lot of people really hate shopping.
Yes. Why do people hate shopping so much?
Shopping's challenging. It's hard to find the stuff that you need. And sometimes a lot of people don't even know what they need. They don't know where to look. And there's so much. Like if you walk through a mall, even just a department store, there's so much. How do you know what departments to go to? And then, there's the trends, right? The trends that come out on the runway, for example, every season. It's like constant trends, right? And so maybe neon is in. Maybe
I lived through neon. I lived through
neon, Pete.
1984.
Exactly, jelly bracelets and okay, we're aging ourselves here.
Okay, so it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, right? And so it takes some of the fun out when it's exhausting and overwhelming, right? Because you don't know where to go or where to start, and then. So there's the finding the stuff, and then the trying on, and knowing what to try on and you got to try different sizes. There's vanity sizing, especially in women's, but also in men's. Do you know
what's vanity sizing?
So vanity sizing is that. So maybe if I took someone's measurements, perhaps that woman's a size 6, but when she goes shopping, she's a size 2. So. So she feels great that she's wearing a size 2.
Okay. So she should be wearing a 6. It's not that they're labeling a 6 a 2 so you feel good. It's that she'll choose the 2.
No, that's what it is. You're
kidding me.
So so there's no standard. So in the fashion industry, the brands can put whatever size number they want on whatever measurement.
That's super annoying.
It's really annoying. So in some brands that I know I might be this size, but in other brands I'm that size. And so it's a marketing thing, and maybe you could write a book about this. But it's a thing where you psychologically want to be the smaller size. So maybe you want to buy that brand where you feel like you were a smaller size and you feel good about that. But it's deceiving and frustrating. And then everywhere you go, you have to take 2 sizes at least into the fitting room of every garment, pretty much.
So it's overwhelming in terms of the number of choices. It's obviously time consuming. You're giving an example of something that makes it unnecessarily time consuming.
Yep.
What else is why? Because I think what we can do is we're in a little bit of a digression here, but I think it's a worthwhile one because we can sort of help problem solve this.
Yeah,
a little
sure.
bit.
Absolutely.
I think we'll return and problem solve some of this once people know what it is that they should be sort of looking for.
Yes. Because we're going to get back to how it can be fun. Yes.
Okay. So overwhelming, too much time. Can I add one?
Yeah, please.
Which is, I think that a lot of people one is you have to sort of confront your body in a way that a lot of people don't want to confront it.
That's true.
And so very few people, I think, unfortunately walk through the world going, I really like my body.
I don't think I know anybody.
Isn't that terrible? Yeah. Isn't that terrible that almost no one walks through life going, I like my body. I think it's a good body.
You're right.
Right? And so then clothes shopping forces you to confront the things that you don't like.
You're right. Especially when there's bad lighting.
Especially bad lighting. As an aside, I was working on a project at one point. It never went anywhere about how poor the lighting is in dressing rooms.
Yeah.
We don't want overhead lighting. We want front lighting.
Mm-hmm. Because
front lighting is the most flattering lighting. That's the kind of lighting you have when you get photographed professionally and,
right.
And that you have with filmmaking and video and so on. And that we live in a world, though, of overhead lighting.
Like shadows on your head.
It's terrible, yes.
Yeah.
And so it forces you to confront your body. And then the other one is, I think that the average person never has really given too much thought about what works for them.
Right.
And they have no training. Like, where do you learn?
Right. That's so true. What a good point you bring up, that this is not an innate skill of learning what's flattering for your physique, what looks good on you, and not just about the size, but there's proportion as well. And knowing, so should I dive into a couple tips here? Or
well, let's do this. Let's talk about, I think that's good. Let's talk about some of the typical problems you encounter, because I think that's probably what you're headed to.
Sure. So it's different for men and for women. Okay. And with men, there's vanity sizing as well. But with women, so a couple of things. Let's say when I work with a lady on her wardrobe edit, before we start,
what's a wardrobe edit?
Oh, sorry. A wardrobe edit is when she would like help going through her closet to update and to look at what she already has and say, is this working? Is it not working? What should I get rid of? What should I get? And what else, and then I ask, well, maybe we can rework this in a different way, or maybe we have it tailored and then it works better or differently. And I make a shopping list as we go, saying, you know what, these trousers would be perfect with a different heel height. You need a different shoe, something like that, for example. But what I'll ask her before we get started with the questionnaire, I'll ask her, what are there parts of your figure that you want to de-emphasize? Are there parts of your figure that you want to accentuate? Mm-hmm. So that way I know what she, likes and doesn't like about her figure. And also ask, of course, if she's changing her figure, working out or trying to lose weight or whatever. But a lot of women will like something about something, maybe not their whole body, but they'll like something. Maybe somebody feels that she has great shoulders or great calves or ankles or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And want to accentuate. And then maybe she wants to de-emphasize her hips, for example. And so there's a way to do that dressing with smoke and mirrors. It's Trump Lloyd. So we can, play with that with proportions and darks and lights.
Okay. So, all right. So the editing, so you have this questionnaire. What are your goals? What do you like about yourself? What do you don't like? What do and what are you working on? Yeah. So you have some of that. And then an edit, if I understand. So an edit is a lot like editing a book. That is, there might be things you cut from the existing wardrobe.
Yep.
Right? Like, you have not worn this polyester blouse since 1979.
Ouch.
It's gone. We're donating it. Right?
I think we've done this in your wardrobe.
We have done a wardrobe edit for me. Yes. And it's a difficult thing to do, I think, for people, because they have to confront their bad choices. They have to confront maybe their body has changed, like this thing doesn't fit anymore.
Right.
And then there's this thing called loss aversion, which is the loss of throwing it away or donating it looms larger than the gain of the space in the closet and the mental clarity that you never have to wear it again.
Well said. Yeah.
And so that's why Marie Kondo,
oh yeah, she's brilliant.
She uses her does it spark joy?
Yeah.
So her spark joy standard is designed to focus you not on the loss of the thing, but on the beauty or the greatness of the thing. I think
that's really smart.
Right? I do too. It's genius.
It is genius. I think a lot of people, we laugh about it and make fun of it, or some people do, but I think it's really smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's the things that cut. Then if you're editing a book, you also need to add, right? So you might say, you need to write another paragraph here to explain this point, which is the thing of, Pete, you really could use a new pair of dark jeans, or so for the listeners, Rachel helped me accessorize better.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Do you remember this?
Oh yes, I had to pull you out of your comfort zone.
What? So tell the story.
So you very proudly told me, because you're very minimalist, right? Would you say that?
Yes, I would.
Yes. That you only wear black accessories, black shoes and black belt, and that's it. And don't even show me anything else.
Yes. What is the natural alternative?
Brown.
Brown. It's not like
not like it's red. It's not like it's so far out of your comfort zone. No, everyone's wearing yellow sneakers, Pete. You need them with the matching belt. Yes. No, it's brown. I mean, and so I actually finally, after years of working together, I talked you into buying a pair of brown shoes.
Yes.
That are not super formal, but they're kind of in between.
Yeah, sort of brown Oxfords, yes?
Yeah, really stylish. They have this patina to the leather.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, we had to get the brown belt to match. So,
yes,
right? And you had to take it for a test drive,
yes.
right? And do you remember what happened? I remember something. Do you remember?
Well, okay. So I will tell you this, is that pair of shoes gets more compliments than any other pair of shoes that I own.
That's awesome.
And then you had to teach me, I think this is illustrative. I think it's good for people to hear this. You had to teach me which of my outfits work well with brown, which work well with black, and which could work with either brown or black.
Yep.
In that way. And I have, and then we're going to save it. We're going to save this point. But you have pushed me even further into what you call fashion forward territory.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that. So the last thing is this revision process, right? Okay. So the sentence is good, but it could be better. Let's revise it. And that seems like what you're saying is you can repurpose something.
Yeah. Yes.
So what's an example of that with a female client you might have?
Oh, that's an example. Let's say there's this skirt that she's been wearing to work, and maybe it's a little bit flowy, and I've looked back at her questionnaire. And in the questionnaire, I've also asked her questions about adjectives she wants next to her name. Such as, how do you want to be perceived? And what is the look you're going for? And what is the style you want? And, what do you want your colleagues and your customers and potential dates, or your husband or whomever? Oh, this is a solo show, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you want people to perceive you?
By the way, I do have married listeners.
Okay.
They come in two forms. The first one is they have a solo mentality. So maybe they don't live with their husband or wife, or maybe they do live together, but they just believe in not being merged as much, being much more independent. And then I have married people who listen because it's like singles porn. They get to imagine what life would be like on the other side.
That's awesome. But regardless if you're married or single, you still need to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
All your advice is relevant. I mean, I think
Most of it is, yes.
a lot of it. You still have to, you're sure, even if you're, happily married, living a normal married life, you still are an individual who has to take care of you got to get right. You got to tidy your place, and you got to get a haircut, and you got to go to the gym, and you got to dress well.
Well said. Yes.
So, anywho, okay. So back to my wardrobe transition.
So she has this flowy skirt, right, and you ask her these adjectives. Yeah.
So she's got these adjectives that maybe she wants to look really chic and professional and polished, and whatever words it is, maybe this flowy skirt just doesn't really seem to match up with the look she's going for. So I might ask her, how do you feel when you wear this skirt? And I'm not sure that this skirt at the office is doing you justice for, the direction you're going. If you want to amp up your style and you want this look, let's repurpose this for Saturdays at the farmer's market.
Got it. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's really useful. Yeah, I think some of the clothes I had, I would repurpose for painting the house.
Especially with your old jeans, right?
Yes, exactly. These old jeans, these sort of 90s style jeans, right. Perfect for painting the house.
Right, or the shorts you won't wear out of the house.
Exactly. We're going to get back to that too. Okay. So you do this. So you do this edit, and so then you identify. Okay, where are the gaps? Is that right? Where are the gaps in this closet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you're looking to fill them in with clothing that accomplishes the goals of your client.
Yep. So I keep a shopping list, like groceries. Yeah,
it's great. Now on the for men, do you find the process to be similar?
I do. Okay. Yes. When I do a wardrobe edit for men, yes, it is similar. And so I start with a questionnaire and get to know, about his work. Are you a manager? Are you customer facing? Tell me about your work. And then we look in his wardrobe and, I ask him, what does he wear to work? And what kind of an impression is he making or image that he's conveying, and, and look at his wardrobe and what he needs. And some guys maybe are, high tech at a startup, right? So
they've just all hoodies in their closet.
Right, but then maybe he's going to pitch and look for funding, but doesn't want to go too far with a full-on suit and tie because it doesn't really fit either.
It doesn't fit the culture, yes. I see.
So then I might discuss with him, how about we throw on a cool sport coat, even over something casual with your denim, and there's a way to do it, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. So so you mentioned one problem, which is, people's comfort or discomfort with parts of their body. What are some of the other problems that you just encounter with, what are the problems that you see with people in their wardrobes?
Okay. So that is a good one. I mean, some people do get emotional even about, more women than men, but about their body. And because you're absolutely right about that. But other issues are, I think that it's really personal experience. Having somebody come over to your house and go in your closet, it's really personal. And so, I'm sorry, but you're talking about even individually, or you're saying with my work?
Well, right? let's talk more generally first.
Generally,
because I think some listeners, they're not ready for a closet edit, right?
Sure.
They're just in a point where they've just, their fashion choices, their clothing choices, or wardrobe choices they're not something they think about. You know what I mean? They're sort of on autopilot, and they might have been on autopilot. They might be wearing the same clothes, the same type of clothes for the last 20 years without thinking about it. And so for some people, they're ready. They're like ready to call you and have you come in and do this. But others, don't even know how far they could improve, how much better off they could be.
Yeah, so, and I think baby steps is good to not feel totally overwhelmed again. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of resources also to look into what to get and where to start. But even starting with new denim can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Right? Like just updating your jeans. It's something
So
modern.
jeans are a problem. Let's just say it.
Jeans are a problem. They can be a big problem. Fit, right? Fit, and I mean, everything starts with fit.
Yes.
Fit is a problem. So it's a problem if you wear your clothes way too big.
Yes.
And you've got all this extra.
You call it shirt fat. We need to take care of that shirt fat.
I'm so sensitive, huh?
No, it's fine though, because shirt fat is fine, right?
It's not yours, it's the shirt.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get rid of shirt fat than it is to get rid of fat.
Right?
So yes, I think that's right.
The tailor is a quick fix that you can't do at the gym so easily.
I agree with you. So it took me many, many years to start wearing clothes that fit me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, it was, so I'm long and lean.
Yeah.
And the problem is I have long arms. And so if I wanted to buy a shirt off the rack that the sleeves fit,
yep,
I would buy an extra large.
Oh.
Also, because I'm a guy who grew up, with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger films, like that was at a time where big, beefy guys were the kind of look versus nowadays, which is a much sort of more lean, muscular but lean kind of.
Like Bradley Cooper.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, more
right.
of a classic, just natural V shape on a guy.
Yeah.
And so I'd wear an extra large because I didn't want to be a large. I wanted to be an extra large, And so then I would wear a shirt that fit in the sleeves.
Yep.
And then maybe fit in the length, but had this billowing under, right?
Yes, enormous.
And then I would tuck the shirt in, and it would.
Did you do the thing where you push it to the back?
God, I probably did everything, And then the same with, I didn't have these big muscular legs, you know what I mean? And so I would wear these pants. The problem, of course, was getting that to work, and so. And the problem, like if you're a thin guy, but you want to try to look bigger and you wear bigger clothes to look bigger, you just look like a skinny guy in a tent.
Totally.
And then if you're a bigger guy and you try to wear even bigger clothes to disguise the fact that you're a bit overweight, you just look like a big guy in a big tent.
You look sloppy too.
It's unfortunate. And so I think you're right. Like a lot of people, they don't wear clothes that fit. And I think part of the problem is clothes that don't fit on the big side are still comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people prefer to dress for comfort. And when they wear clothes that are so big, you just kind of look bigger than you are. Mm-hmm. And some people even want to hide their figure when they're not confident in their bodies. They want to hide and cover it up. Yes. But I have experienced, helping somebody dress in something maybe even it's a little more tailored and more fitted, but not tight. There's a difference, right? It just fits. And it looks like the person lost weight. I mean, you can feel like you lost weight even though you haven't, just by losing the clothing excess, that you don't need around your body, whether it's a guy wearing this huge billowy shirt and having the shirt fat shaved off. Yes. Or whether it's a woman wearing, some big tunic and instead putting on, let's say, some great denim that's, fitted to her and maybe a fitted blazer, which looks amazing. Blazers are my favorite thing for women because they give her shape at the waist and kind of a sculpture, but they don't cling like a cardigan. They don't cling to you. So they stand away but still provide shape.
I see. Yeah, that's fun. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think the tough thing about the clothing that fits is that there's not an easy off-the-rack solution, right? Because off-the-rack clothing is built for an average, if there's for a man, it's small, medium, large, extra large, extra large, right?
Right.
And so the problem, though, is I'm a large in some ways, an extra large in others, a medium in yet other ways, depending on what part of the body is connected to the clothing.
I know. You always have to compromise off the rack.
And so the first solution is find a good tailor.
Exactly what I was going to say. Your tailor, go to the tailor. When you shop, just know that tailoring might be an added small expense to plan on.
Yes.
because it will make the clothing that much better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you find that, like $3,000 dress marked down to $10 and you're so psyched about it, but and it needs just a little tweaking at the tailor, great. But if it needs a whole new cut and reset the whole thing, if it needs too much tailoring, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I see.
So keep in mind the amount of tailoring. And a store associate, if you're shopping in a store, will be able to guide you in this. And some stores offer alterations also.
I see. And so if I remember correctly, so for a man's shirt, let's talk about some shirt fat, right? So,
Yeah.
so a guy, the key, of course, is making sure that the shirt fits off the rack in terms of the neck.
The neck.
And then also the arm length.
Yes.
Ideally.
Yeah, you can't add to the length.
Can't add to the length. But you can close so the amount of fabric on the arm, on the sleeve, can be tightened down.
Yep.
And then the fabric underneath the armpit, and then the fabric around the waist.
Yep. So if you put your arm out, like that entire line from your wrist, your cuff, all the way down your armpit and down to the hem, all of that can be taken in.
Yes. Now, if all of that's taken in, that might cost $30, $40.
Yeah, it's not a ton.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean,
it depends what you spend on your shirt.
That's right. Yes. So when I was a grad student, the idea of tailoring a shirt for $30 or $40.
Right. It could be a lot.
But,
absolutely. Depends on what you paid for the shirt. And what
yeah, that's right. And, so then you have to work a little harder on the time side of things in terms of finding better things that fit versus
and
spending money.
It's effort. It takes effort. I mean, you spend time on writing a paper, right? Or you spend time on stuff for work or whatever it may be. Maybe you like to cook. Maybe you love shopping for your mountain bike equipment. You take time to research and find the right stuff. You have to invest the time.
Yes.
Whether it's online and then receiving it and trying it out at home and going to the tailor or returning what doesn't work or asking a friend who's honest, or whether it's shopping in the store and talking to the sales associates or bringing a friend, you have to invest the time to hunt and gather.
Yes, I think that's fair. I mean, I would argue that if you're buying good quality clothes, an additional $30 or $40 to get it to fit really well, in order to be excited to wear it and to get the benefits of wearing clothing that really pops and looks good on you, if you can make that work, it's a worthwhile expense.
It sure is. It will spark joy.
It will spark joy. Now, the next level is to see someone like you, or to get custom clothing made.
Oh, yes, with Jay Hilburn.
With Jay Hilburn.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Jay Hilburn, we're looking for sponsors for Solo, so we're open to a sponsorship.
Okay, that's
But so to me, a custom shirt.
Yes.
Would include someone like you measuring the guy's body or gal's body, and then having the shirt custom made.
Yes, it would be made just for him. Yep. My
personal experience with you is it's not that much more expensive than buying a shirt and having it tailored.
Right. It sounds really expensive, custom made, but it's not as expensive as you might think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do custom shirts now for $100.
Is that right? Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it's not as expensive as, some people think it must be at least $200 or something, but there's a variety, there's a range depending on your fabrics. So, and then there are sales, of course.
Right, of course. Yeah. I mean, I recognize I have listeners who are 22 years old who are just getting this, going to middle-aged folks, to people who might be close to retirement, where they're not really thinking that much about dressing for work or whatnot. They have a much more casual life.
Oh, funerals. Is that what you were going to say? That's not what I was going to say. Okay.
I look good at those funerals.
I do have a lot of guys that tell me they need to have that black suit just in case. I mean, it's good to have in your wardrobe. I guess
sad to say, but
it is sad to say. But I was going to say, you should dress for your casual wardrobe as well. I think that's just as important, because you want to look good on the weekend or after work or on a date or doing something with your friends. It's not just about dressing for work. And so I always encourage my clients to pay attention, and we shop for casual stuff. And with Jay Hilburn also, you can take the fit of your your, white, clean button-down shirt from work and apply the same fit to your linen shirt for weekends for the summer, or for untucked with your, with your 5 pockets or whatever. And you can change the styling up, but it's all about fit.
You'd be so proud of me. I had a pool day recently, and I never would have done this 10 years ago, but I have this sort of, I need to get another suit, but I have this sort of old style blue bathing suit with white stitching.
Okay.
It's a great suit. I love it. But then I wore a white polo shirt with it to match the stitching.
Nice.
And then I bought a new hat.
Oh, sweet.
I'll put it in the exhibits and so on. And so it's kind of a fedora, like a summer fedora.
Yeah, we've been looking at these for years, actually.
Yes, I found one and I bought it. And then a pair of like sort of Wayfarer style sunglasses.
Oh, you must look so cool. And barefoot or shoes?
I was wearing flip-flops.
Okay.
Because I was in a suit and stuff like that. Yeah, I was in the pool or at the pool. But I could imagine sort of a more casual sneaker that I could probably have used with that. But I'm not going to bore people with that. But I just wanted to say that, even like normally what I would have done, with the pool is you put on a baseball cap, put on a T-shirt, and then your bathing suit.
And you don't think about it.
You don't even think about it because you're going to the pool.
Right.
And so on.
But.
Exactly. Yes. There's people at that pool who you might want to see having seen you look good. So, so we've talked about clothing that doesn't fit. That's a number one major problem that people have. And I would say this, if you tackle that problem, you fix 50% of your
at least
problem.
much more than 50%. Fit is the most important part.
Okay.
It really is. Otherwise, it just looks like you're wearing somebody else's clothes.
Yes.
Even if it's beautiful and designer or fancy, or you love the fabric, or it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's the next set of problem the next sort of big one that you find?
What with
men or women in terms of wardrobe choices, clothing choices?
So I think that some people, just don't know like what to put together, how to put the outfit together, and also how to accessorize. But I guess that's more the icing after. But it's, sometimes where to start. Or and when I do speaking engagements, I teach, and I do more for women than for men. Some mixed for companies, but for women, I've done these seminars about how to build your professional wardrobe with style, for example. Okay. And I always start with wardrobe basics. So basics are like the black pants, or the navy pants, or whatever it may be, and how to, like, what, where to invest, where to save, like what looks good, and then kind of creating these building blocks to then create your outfits around. And the building blocks, sure, they could be boring, but then we add the fun afterward. I look at it as that the basic things, like the basic pants, the basic blazer, let's say that these are the blank canvas, and the accessories are the paint. And then the trendy stuff can also be like with the accessories and the fun stuff.
Well, yeah. So it's interesting here you say this, and I think it goes something like this, which is, if there are these kind of clothing for certain circumstances, for clothing for occasions.
Yeah.
And if you lack the clothing for that occasion, now you either skip the occasion, which is, I think, unfortunate, or you wear something that's not appropriate for the occasion.
Yeah.
And then how do you show up and be confident? How do you show up and say to the people who are hosting the occasion or part of the occasion, oh, this is important to me?
Right.
And so I think that, I think a lot of people get into trouble. I think guys get into trouble with this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So there are guys who they have clothing for work and they have clothing for tailgating, but they don't have clothing to go on a date.
Right.
Or to go to a dinner party.
Right.
And so now they're in this space. It's just not appropriate. And it's hard to feel good.
Yeah.
You don't. So you might be missing. So what you're saying is basics. Like, so you might need a professional sport jacket, but then you also might have a more casual sport jacket.
Yeah, maybe something fun, and depends your personality too. Maybe, sure, the navy blazer, but what about the fun, like burgundy plaid sport coat if that's your personality? It's got a cool lining in it. So yeah, something to express your personality, something casual, something for those occasions. And it takes time to, like we already said, it takes time and effort, but especially with custom clothes, you need to plan ahead and say, okay, I'm going to set myself up. So it takes a little extra planning. Because it takes time to order these things. They're made just for you. So it could take 4 weeks or so plus your fittings to make sure that the fit is correct. Or if we have to tweak it a little bit at the tailor, we will. So plan ahead and get the things that you want to set yourself up with in your wardrobe. So when those occasions come up, you've got it. You're ready. And you have the versatility that, okay, this blazer could work at this, dinner party I'm going to, this cocktail party, this swanky event downtown, or it could work for a date night at the theater, or it could work, just different ways.
Yes. I agree. It does take a little bit of planning. I think one thing that people don't recognize is, yes, it's a lot of work, but once you have the sort of basics, and especially if you do a good job getting stuff that works well for you and is good enough quality, and you take care of it lasts for a while.
It does.
You don't have to keep at it. It doesn't have to be as much work after the initial sort of fixed cost.
That's right. And especially when you determine the sizing, especially if you shop J. Hilburn or any custom clothes, then you know your fit. And then it's much easier. Once you're fitted, it's much easier. You can even order custom clothes online, which is cool. We do a Zoom session. Even, shopping the stores, it's an investment of time to figure out what works. But when you have those basics and you get them in the better quality, this is where you invest. You invest in better quality because, like you said, you don't want to have to shop for new black pants every season if you're a woman buying black pants.
Indeed. I'm going to offer another one and get your reaction to it. And this, we've already alluded to it a little bit, which is you're wearing something terribly out of date. So you might either be wearing something that is very clearly connected to a fad or a time period that has long passed. We've already talked about, like, baggy jeans are clearly way, way out. They're not just a tiny bit out. They're way, way out. Or you're wearing stuff, you're 45, but you're dressing like a 20-year-old.
Oh, yeah. That's another issue.
And that happens with men and women.
Yes. It does. It does. Like like the mini skirts. You told me not to hold back, right?
Yes, please don't hold back.
So if mini skirts are on the runway and they're one of the trends and they're all over the stores and they look so cute on the mannequins and they look so cute on, the 22-year-old who's home from college or just graduated college, it doesn't mean everybody should wear them.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Even if you have great legs. Sometimes it just looks a little too young and it looks kind of off.
Yeah. Look, I have my own pet peeve, which is middle-aged men and their shorts.
Right. That's right.
American middle-aged men wearing shorts, not at the gym and not at the beach.
And not at the ballpark.
Yeah. Like, the world does not want to see your pale, hairy, middle-aged legs.
Or your toes.
Or your toes. Oh, yeah. The other one is flip-flops at brunch. Right. I have a
bad.
joke.
It's bad. You're right. And people listening are probably like, what? What's wrong with that?
They're comfortable. It's hot out. Yeah, I get it. I understand that. But it's my joke is when a middle-aged man wears flip-flops, he chooses his own comfort over the comfort of others.
Oh, well said. That's a good quote.
So I think that's like, there's a little bit of a transition where you don't have the body you used to. You're more established. You're not a teen.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, moving away from a ball cap. Oh, this is a good segue. I think we can move on from problems. Like, this is the fun thing about clothing is you can move away from your problems so far that you can start to have fun.
Yes.
Right. That's the nice thing. You're no longer fleeing bad decisions and discomfort and so on. You're now approaching excitement and fun. So, for example, dressing for the pool that day was not anxiety-ridden set of decisions. It was like a fun, exciting.
That's good. It can be
choices.
anxiety-ridden for some people.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I have to go to a pool party.
Yes.
So, right. So, but that's good. Once you figure it out, it's super fun.
It can be fun. And you use this term fashion forward.
Okay.
What is your definition of fashion forward?
Like pushing the envelope a little bit, getting out of your comfort zone. And it's, I guess, different for everyone. But fashion forward, I think, it's also being a little more trendy, being on trend. So not just being in classics that are timeless, there's definitely a place for that. It's pushing it to something that is a little more runway. Maybe it's bolder colors or patterns or something that's
something I won't
high fashion.
I won't do yet, which is I will not mix patterns.
Oh gosh, Pete. I've seen you mix pattern. I've seen you mix pattern.
Barely. But I like my solids with one pattern.
Okay. You know? It's safer.
But yeah, so I'll give my example of this, which is, as you can say, like, you know, I grew up poor, and I have this minimalist tendencies. And so I just want to keep it simple. I just want to remove as much decision making as possible. I just want to know, okay, these pants will go with these shirts and those pants will go to those shirts. And you know, and I can just kind of mix and match sort of Granimal style.
Yeah, right.
People who remember those.
Right. I have a lot of
kids.
I have a lot of guys who ask me to make Garanimals for them.
Yes. I get it.
Yeah. And they want it easy. Yep.
I get it. But you pushed me to be a little fashion forward, and the example of this is I have this blue suit. It's like is it a slate blue or stone? I forget the type of blue. It's a little
brighter. Yeah, it's a little brighter navy, right?
Yes, that's right. And it's my favorite suit.
It's gorgeous.
And it looks really good on me. Oh, let me add that is I think some people don't dress for their coloring.
Oh, that's another thing I was going to say as well. You're absolutely right.
So say more about that.
So when you dress for your coloring, it's about bringing out your features, your eyes, your hair, your face, because you don't want someone just noticing your outfit. You want them to notice you. And so if you were to, let's say you're really, really fair, like really light blonde hair, fair skin, and you're wearing all dark colors, and somebody squints from far away, they're only going to see your clothes coming. They're not going to see your head. And so you want to wear something that flatters you. Not to say you can't wear black, because black is universal and makes you feel good or whatever. But as a general rule, dressing, you know, in your most flattering colors, go with something tonal with your hair and with your eyes. Those are the first two rules that are simple to follow. You know, I mean, you know, you have blue eyes. When you wear blue, it brings out your eyes. And then if you have gray hair, then you look great in grays. So you just do, you know, more than you would in brown, for example.
I see.
And then also there's the value of your coloring. So if you have pretty dark hair and dark skin, it's easier to look good in bold, darker colors.
Yes.
Because you have more of a contrast or value contrast, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit beyond the scope of this conversation, but I want to bring it, well, only just because of the details, because, you know, everybody looks different, but I have I have gray hair, sort of pinkish skin, and blue eyes.
Yeah.
And so blues and grays kind of work very well for me.
Yep. And that's a no-brainer, right? So that makes it easy.
Yes.
So dress for your hair, dress for your eyes. We'll keep it simple.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, I have an example I can share. So for me, one of my favorite colors has always been magenta, which is like this dark purpley pink color. But I noticed from photographs of myself years ago, like 10 years ago, my gosh, I look terrible in this color. My skin looks yellow. I don't look good.
Yes.
And I figured out what it was. Like, okay, it's this color that just makes me look really washed out. It's the wrong tone for my skin. And so that's not something easy to identify, except if so anyway, now I wear it elsewhere. Like I have a pair of shoes in that color that I love. But the point is that if you take time and look in the mirror and hold up some different colors, and you feel prettier or more attractive in certain colors than others, then that just can help you. Even if you don't know why, certain colors can wash you out.
I mean, we have to say this. I don't expect anyone to do this on their own. I really don't expect anyone to do this on their own. You need to find friends who are going to be honest with you, who have some taste and experience.
Yeah.
Or you need a professional like you to help with it. Like in the same way that I don't think people should change the oil in their car alone.
Right.
If they're inexperienced, they
or
should
fill a cavity.
Exactly, right? Like, like lean on people who have expertise and comfort and who are going to act in your best interest.
Yeah, and nobody knows that you had to get help, right? It's your secret.
That's exactly right. So the until episode 1 of Solo, where your guest spill the beans and tell the world that you've had a stylist.
Right.
It ruins it.
That's true.
But so my example of and this is about expertise in this idea of fashion forward. And so I have an episode about what makes people cool. And so when you talk about fashion forward, you're really talking about coolness, I think.
Yeah.
And the idea is pushing the envelope. You don't want to push it so far that you're deviant and people look at you sideways, but you push it a little bit, just enough that that you're different.
Yeah, and you're taking a risk, like a fashion risk.
Yes. So the example of this is that suit, the blue suit that we were talking about, is you one day said to me, you know what you could do with that suit, Pete? This is after you helped me get the brown accessories.
Oh boy.
You could get a gray belt and gray shoes and it'll look really good. And I was like, really? I don't think. She's like, yeah, it'd be fashion forward.
I don't even remember saying that.
Yes, it's fashion forward, but it would look really good. and I remember actually I actually went out and bought these things, not like real high, like not super expensive stuff, because I was like, I don't think I can invest in that.
I remember.
And I bought some Steve Madden shoes, gray shoes and gray belt and so on. And I wore it to the airport one day. And I had 3 people, including someone at TSA, one of the TSA workers, say, "You look really good."
Woo!
And I remember I sent you a text message.
You did. I remember that text.
I think you were like meeting with like the CEO or something.
Exactly.
And you showed the CEO the text.
I was at a dinner with the CEO and a bunch of leaders and at the company at J. Hilburn, like this fancy dinner. And the CEO was standing next to me, and on my phone, I got a text from you, and it said I'm at the airport, and I just got all these compliments wearing the clothes that you picked out for me. I'm like, check this out.
Yes, give me a bonus.
Right.
So for a guy, it might be a little bit different kind of accessorizing, or it might be this idea of kind of, it might be like a sport coat in a situation where most people are a little dressed down, but what about like when you talk about being fashion forward with your female clients, what comes to mind as an equivalent story that might inspire a listener?
I don't know. I think trying a trend, but again, not every trend is worth trying. So let me just say that some of the trends are not, or
Can I ask about one? Can I ask about one?
Of course, go ahead.
So this is a few years old now. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there were a bunch of women wearing long sleeve blouses with their shoulders exposed.
Oh, yes. That's called cold shoulder.
Cold shouldering. Yes.
Well, I don't think it's a verb.
Well, there were a lot of cold shoulders.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember thinking, like for some women, I was like, wow, that looks great. She's got great shoulders. She's these, nice, you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yeah.
But I also remember thinking that's a fad.
It is a fad. Exactly. Yes.
Because it went away pretty quickly, no?
Yeah. It's been, maybe 3 years or so. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. Yeah. And it was a way to be a little bit fashion forward. It's an easy trend to wear.
Mm-hmm. What would be a more traditional fashion forward hack that you would give a woman?
Great question. Maybe gosh, I'm sure I'll think of so many more after we hang up, but it could be something printed, something bright, something bold. Maybe it's like hot pink pants or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Right? Something fun. Yeah, or I remember years ago where the colored denim was the big thing, but it's been a while. But But even like a suit, I have a friend in Denver who's very, very stylish, and she recently posted a picture of herself in a suit, a pantsuit that's like, it's some kind of off red.
Okay.
And it looks gorgeous. So that's something pretty high fashion that not everyone can pull off, and it looked really good.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is when you start getting into fashion forward, there's not the basics. Like, it depends on the person's body type, what their style that they're developing, their coloring, and so on.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fits all.
Right. And maybe it's some cool asymmetric thing, and maybe it does have a really high slit on the dress or something a little sexy, or edgy.
The thing about it is that if you go that route, at first you're going to be a little uncomfortable.
Oh, hope not, but maybe.
When I say uncomfortable, I mean like you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable in that look at first. I think.
Maybe when you're new to trying something out of your comfort zone, yeah.
But what happens is it's those situations. No one ever compliments you for having the basics.
When they're boring, especially.
Yes. Yeah. But if you do something a little out on your edge, and I talk about this as one of the principles of solo, is to live on your edge. Right? So you want to live on your edge where you're not bored, but you're also not totally stressed out. And so being on your edge, I went to the airport a little on my edge. I was on my edge there with the gray accessories. And then, but when you live on your edge, that's where you get the compliment. That's where the remarkable stuff is happening.
Right. And then it changes your courage the next time, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It emboldens you to do it again, and to keep trying that.
Nice.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. So let's get back to the problem of shopping. Let's finish up with some solutions.
Yes, solutions are helpful, I think, to hear.
So we talked about your choices are overwhelming. It feels like a waste of time. You have to confront your weaknesses, and you often don't have the expertise, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty there.
Yeah. So I think number one is finding someone to help you, right? Whether it's like for you with Jay Hilburn, it's part of the service. So I come over and, get you fitted and talk about the kind of fit you want and help you pick out the clothes. And it's all part of the service of getting you the clothes. So you pay for the clothes, but I also, consult for you. Helping with shopping, that's one way to go. And another way is if you go shopping at the stores, it's, working with the sales associates that are there already.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you can build a relationship with somebody in the store that you really like, that's helpful. Then you can just call that person, hey, I need this. Can you set up a fitting room full of stuff, make my life easier? That's what they're there for.
Right.
And you don't have to pay for that.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency for people to avoid the associates because they're afraid. They feel uncomfortable asking these questions and so on. But I think it's important to recognize that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
They want to help.
Yep.
The good ones want to help because they'd rather help than stand around.
Yeah, and they have a lot to offer.
Yes.
But maybe it won't click with everyone, and maybe they're not all as knowledgeable as the next person. So it depends.
Yeah, you want to find in the same way you want to find the right fit with the clothing, you want to find the right fit with the person helping.
Absolutely. And then bring a friend. And the other thing is bring a water bottle, bring snacks, treat yourself like a child and say, all right, I need to parent myself here because this stinks. Like when you go jean shopping and it's like swimsuits and you're going to try on a million and just lock yourself in that fitting room until you find one good pair that works.
Indeed. My personal story getting started with this is in my early 30s. So in my late 20s, I started to really improve my wardrobe. One was a girlfriend who helped me, who was very fashionable and wasn't afraid to criticize. and so that helped me get rid of some of like really bad stuff like pleated pants and braided belts and tucking polo shirts in and stuff like that. But the next level was I have a very good friend who, when I was doing my postdoc and she would visit, I called it, let's go to the big three. And we would walk to sort of downtown Princeton and we would go to I think it was a Banana Republic, a J. Crew, and one other store.
Yep.
And we would just look to see what was in the clearance racks and what was on sale and what was in there. And she would advise me about what would work and what wouldn't work and would tell me what would fit. I mean, I remember her saying to me, Pete, you have to stop wearing clothes that are 1 or 2 sizes too big. You have to stop doing this. And
good thing she pointed that out. So many people have no idea they're doing that.
That's right. So that I agree with you, having a friend do it. And then there's these other options. There are some personal shopping. Like sometimes like Nordstrom will offer this, for you give them your sizes and they have it waiting for you.
Yep.
There's things like Trunk Club nowadays and other versions of this that will send you clothing.
Yes.
And you can try it on in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah. And send back what doesn't work. Yeah.
You know, these are all imperfect.
Right.
Perfect, but they do solve some of the problems that people have.
Yeah, it takes, so if you go around at least to, receive the things you like, and it's still an effort because then you still have to ship stuff back and try it on. But like you said, there are benefits of all these different things. And just remember, it takes effort. You have to put in the effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think the issue is it's hard to get around. You're either going to have to throw time or money at this problem. And it's a little bit a matter of understanding where you are with your financial situation, where you are with your time situation, and how much you want to be able to invest in this. Because you can go crazy and spend thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
But I would argue that you don't have to spend that much to make wild improvements.
I 100% agree. Absolutely. I think that, and with me, like if somebody hires me, sure, that's an investment, to pay for the service, but then I shop everywhere and anywhere. We could spend all our time at TJ Maxx or Nordstrom Rack or, it doesn't matter, and I'll look for quality, of course, and I'll look for fit. It takes a little longer to hunt and gather, but it doesn't matter where we shop. The point that you can save money for sure. And also, by making the right decisions and not buying the wrong thing or not buying the same thing again and again, always going back to it and still not feeling great about it.
Yes. You should be excited to be wearing the clothes that you're wearing.
You should be. You should be. And if you feel like you're always stuck in the same thing or you can't get out of this pattern of what you're wearing all the time and gravitating to the same thing, then get some help from somebody who can help change your perspective, whether it's a stylist or a friend.
Yes, that's right. Depending on your budget and depending on where you're at and so on. And I would just say is, start slow, start making the improvements, and then you can build on these things. I recognize a lot of people are completely overwhelmed listening to this.
So we should give some tips. We should give some tips to simplify.
Let's finish with some tips. And then what I'd like to do, we'll come back with, if people want to stick around for the bonus material, and I want to just talk briefly about COVID dressing, dressing during a pandemic. But we'll come back to this. So what are some tips that you want to leave the listener with?
So so make a shopping list. Go look at your wardrobe, and think about even back up. Think about how you want to look. Think about how you want to look. Like, what are some adjectives? If you call someone and your name's on caller ID at their house or their office, what do you want them to think about you, right? So, okay, I want to look professional, I want to look cool, or I want to look whatever it may be. And then go through your wardrobe and think about, do I look good? Does this fit? Do I look professional? Think about those adjectives. Does this look cool? And you can have a friend come over and do that. So make your shopping list on your own as you do this. Like, I love these jeans, but do they fit? Not really. They don't fit anymore. So, okay, put it on the list that you need new jeans, right? So keep going with shoes, with everything. Then on your shopping list, you can prioritize a few things that you need. Think about your work right now. What do you need for your work? And again, we'll talk about that in the bonus material, right? But generally, what can you prioritize? And there are so many sales right now. Think, okay, I'm going to prioritize new jeans. So maybe just, look at 3 places, or maybe even start with one place, a department store that has several brands, and order a few pairs of jeans and, maybe it's in the next size if your old jeans don't fit. Try them on at home, go through that process and like, okay, I found some great jeans, check the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could do that with a couple of categories and take baby steps. You don't need to push yourself out of your comfort zone yet. You don't need to take fashion risks yet or add all the fluff and fun until you feel like your clothes fit.
Mm-hmm.
Start with what you have. And if you feel like, like these dress shirts that I have, you're a guy, I love these shirts, but, they are a little billowy. Or, my neck's really big. I had to go up in size, but they're too big around my waist. Maybe you work out and you have the V, or maybe you've got long arms like you. So I'm going to take these to the tailor. Mm-hmm. There's a place to start.
Absolutely.
Have them fitted. And that's a great place to start because you'll just feel like, wow, my clothes fit so much better. And I didn't have to spend a fortune or a ton of time.
I see. Yeah, I think that's good. And again, I think it's important to, if you can, lean on folks, friends or professionals for advice, encouragement.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
It does. It does.
It takes a bit of a village.
I think it's a way, sounds counterintuitive, but it's a way you could save money.
Yes, I agree. That's great. That's a great starting point. Rachel, thank you so much for doing this. I hope it's helpful for people. It's just good to get people to start thinking a little bit and say the world would be a better place if more people dressed well. I think there's something a little bit throwback about doing it.
Yeah, you're right. Classic. I like the way you said that. Yeah, and I agree. I think it feels good when you feel confident. It's all about confidence.
Yes. Well, I thank you for doing this, and I thank you for helping me look better.
Oh, my pleasure. So, thank you. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for having me on the show. What an honor.
It was great fun. So if you folks want to come back, you want to stick around, we're going to talk in the bonus material about COVID. But until then, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Pete.
Okay, we're back with a little bit of bonus material. I'm going to keep this short because Rachel and I just have a tendency to just talk fashion. But I want to talk about COVID dressing. So, I think there's sort of two things that are happening right now, and I want to think through actually, there's three things that are happening as I think about it. So the first one is people are just wearing pajamas all the time. Yes. I get that sense. The second one is they just don't have opportunities to be out in public and to be social and to wear their full wardrobe. And then the last one is masks.
Right.
People are wearing masks. So what have been your thoughts and about those topics or anything else that's come up during this pandemic as people are sort of quarantined, isolating, social distancing, and so on?
So let's talk about video conferencing because I think a lot of people are video conferencing from home right now. And so they are dressing from the waist up, which makes sense.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense. And it's there's a new term called your Zoom shirt.
Yes, I've heard about this where people just have a shirt on a hanger and they just put it on before a Zoom call.
Right. And, throw that sport coat on, but keep your gym shorts on the bottom, which is what a lot of people are doing, pajamas on the bottom.
Yes,
and and your button down on top or your blouse or whatever. So my warning is that if you're on this video conference and you have to get up for something, you could be busted.
Yes, be careful. Yeah.
Be careful. Yes, you might just want to throw on, even if it's a pair of jeans, throw something on the bottom that's not your pajamas or, cover your boxers, do something. So
can I add a quick thing to that?
Yeah.
So I think that Zoom shirt, the choice of that Zoom shirt matters.
Yeah.
The getting a good pattern or no pattern, a solid probably works better than a pattern because of the
you don't want it because the camera, you don't want it too tiny of a pattern. Yes. It could be a bigger pattern though.
And then the other one is getting their lighting right. So
yes,
you want to be front lit rather than top lit.
Yes, and the other thing is the position of your computer camera.
Yes.
So if you, so the lighting is huge. Like if you have a window and you can put some kind of a table in front of the window so you're looking at the light, then the light is on you and your camera sees the light on you, but then lift your computer up off the table. So put a box under it or anything.
It should be a little above eye level, kind of looking down a tiny bit.
Okay.
Yes.
So Yeah, just not too high up, so it's looking way down on your forehead or your cleavage.
Yes, good point.
Watch out for that. And not too low, so somebody's seeing your nose hairs either.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so what else comes to mind in terms of COVID for you?
Yeah, I mean, the masks you brought up, that's a thing, right? That's definitely a thing. And
It can be potentially a fashion statement.
Potentially. It's a new accessory.
Yes.
Love it or hate it.
Yes.
You could just wear a medical one that you throw away, and that's fine. It doesn't have to match. But if you want to wear a fabric one and you want to make a statement or you want it to coordinate,
yes,
then go for it. It is another opportunity.
Well, I talked about sponsorship from Jay Hilburn. We do have, Solo has a sponsor. And it's Rapture Masks.
Cool.
As in Rapture with a W, as in wrap it up.
Oh, nice. Well,
and so so if you go to rapturemask.com, WRAPTUREMASKS,
rapturemasks.com. Rapturemasks.com.
That's right. They have a black mask, and now they have a new white mask. Both look very sharp. They're 100% machine washable, antimicrobial, and you can use promo code Rapture Solo for a discount.
Nice.
And I'll put a picture in the exhibits here. I wore that same hat that I told you about earlier with the mask and a black polo, and I look pretty good in it.
Good for you.
It's kind of a decent look.
That's good. That's good. You wore the black one? The black mask?
I wore the black mask.
Black.
Yeah.
Cool.
With that one.
Yeah, that's good.
So I have an idea. I want to get your opinion about it. Like, I get it. Like, especially if people listen to the episode and they go, well, that's all really nice, but I'm not going to be dressing up for a long time.
I know.
I see it as an opportunity.
Okay, tell me.
Right. So, you have to be home a lot more than you would be otherwise right now. What a perfect time for a closet audit.
Yeah, it's a perfect time.
Right?
You have time.
What a perfect time to start identifying the things that need to go.
Yep.
The holes.
Yep.
And then now, because of mail, you can start to do wardrobe-y type stuff. You don't have to actually go to a store.
Right.
As much.
Right.
But I think getting started in terms of just cleaning out your closet is a good first step.
Yep.
To use during this time.
I think so. Yeah, I've done some Zoom, or video sessions too.
That's a nice idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you definitely can, even, on your own. Yeah, you have more time to schedule a few hours and go for it. Clean out your closet. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
You have the time. And I mean, I'm hearing it, just to comment on what you said, that there's not a ton of opportunities to wear what you're wanting to wear, but I think that once things change and we can get back to life, I think people are going to want to dress up. What do you think?
I think so. I think it'll be sort of refreshing to go out and to, especially if you've been taking care of yourself. And I know a lot of people who have gotten really fit during quarantine. And so now they get to show off this new body with a potentially new look.
And I think, in the meantime, where maybe you have a little bit of in-person work or, socially distanced drink with a friend or whatever, you can wear a few things, but otherwise hold on to it, right? If you love it and it's something in your wardrobe you feel good in.
I think the idea is, think of this as prep time. You have a little extra prep time that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, like get ready. It's like life has a pause and you can catch up.
That's right. You have to put a lot of things on hold, but that's that first step of identifying those needs.
I like that. I like that to prep your wardrobe. It's good.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's and then I think the other one is, we got to go outside and get some fresh air and some sun and go for a walk. Well, why not look nice for your walk?
Why not?
Right? Why not look nice for your walk? That's being outside now, and that's being social now.
Yep, and it goes back to that conversation of dressing well casually and paying attention to the casual wardrobe, right? Yes. It's not just about work.
Anything else that comes to mind in terms of thinking about either just about quarantine life and dressing and so on?
I think it's good to be comfortable, but at the same time, when you are getting ready for a work call, to remember that when you dress for what you're about to do, it changes something. Mm-hmm. Just like when you said in our episode, Pete, about getting ready to go teach, put on the outfit that's like a costume, even though it's not a costume, and it prepares you mentally for what you're about to do. Same thing with getting on a work call, right? Mm-hmm. You're preparing yourself. So sure, you could show up, even if it's not video, you could show up in your pajamas or sweatpants, but I think something changes mentally when you dress. You don't have to wear a full suit and tie.
Yes,
but I think when you put on some work-appropriate clothes, you just sit differently, you act differently, or something in your brain acts, it just shows up differently.
And if everyone else is sort of just mailing it in, you get a chance to stand out.
There's that too.
Right. Yeah.
There's that too. Yeah, I mean, when you're face-to-face and you can show that, but even internally, I think there's a study called enclothed cognition, but I don't need.
Yes, that's right.
I don't have to dive too deep in it, but yeah, it's interesting. You can chime in if we're not out of time.
I think we're about out of time, but I will put the link to that study in there. But essentially, it has this idea of how you behave and how you get treated change based upon. I think they used like people wearing lab coats.
Yes,
as the stimuli in that.
Yes, it's the artist's smock versus the medical lab coat.
Yes, that's right. And it had these very substantial effects on the participants in the study.
Yeah. So it's
look at you getting sciencey on me.
I know, right? Are you proud of me?
That's very nice. All right. Well, folks, let's hope we don't have to do many more COVID-related topics, but I'm afraid we're going to be in this for a little while longer. But I think the one good news is you have a little extra time if you get committed to making some of these improvements.
Yep.
Rachel, again, you're great. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
My pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Solo, the single person's guide to a remarkable life. For more about our guests and show notes, go to petermcgraw.com. Please subscribe and share with your single friends.